Every time we do a video, my mom's like, "Oh my God, Michael's got a beer." I'm like, I'm pretty sure he has a drink every time we go on here. I'm just not paying attention. But anyways, oh!
That was quick.
It's not even a week. It's a bye week, but somehow I think we'll find a way to lose. What? I also think it's good news that we can't lose this week.
Yeah, it's true.
You gotta take your wins and your losses and your bye weeks. But
much needed bye week.
I'd say so. It's definitely much needed. Coming off this Baltimore loss, it's just another game that's just been the same theme as every game this year. It's us just shooting ourselves in the foot, and it just caught up with us. And
yeah. It was a winnable game. Totally winnable game.
The opportunities were
defense looked great. Not great, but
just laid out on the table there for you to take them.
Yeah.
And they just didn't take advantage. They looked like a young team, made young mistakes.
To be fair, they are young.
But 2 fumbles, a missed field goal, couple penalties, dropped passes, missed tackles, blown coverage. You can go on. I don't think you can tell me that Baltimore won this game, but you could tell me that we definitely lost the game. And I think that's the most aggravating thing about this whole thing. But the season's not over. And there's still a lot for us to do, but it only gets harder from here on out. This is when you have to put your playoff hopes in the other hands of other teams, which is very doable with how the schedules are looking like in our division and other wild card contenders. So fingers crossed. This is the week that's been called for a long time. This bye week, this reset button. Let your guys get healthy. You almost had a 100% healthy team on Sunday night, but you just couldn't get the job done. This is 1 week that you let Baker rest, which is perfect. It's much needed.
He was hobbling. He was hobbling. Anytime he ran the ball, you saw when he ran the ball like out of bounds, and he was like literally limping back to the huddle.
Right.
It was a mess, man. It really was.
Yeah, it was. He's been hobbling for a while now, and I think even with the pain and everything, I think he played a pretty solid game. The numbers might not add up to it, but he was making some pretty good throws that we really didn't see all that much this year. And you take away that fumble. There was no INTs.
A couple drop balls too.
A lot of dropped passes. Some that he just had to throw away, and things like that are going to happen when your offense is not clicking. So, how much of it do you put on Baker? How much do you put on Stefanski? Or how much do you put on the rest of the offense? I think it's a collaborative effort that they're just not doing good.
Yeah, and I think people are trying to point fingers at who, like, specifically. Yeah. But I think that's you're wasting your time with that. It's not just one person. It's a group of people. It's the receiving core. It's the play calling. It's the quarterback. It's the execution on all sides. So when people are saying, Baker this, Baker that, Stefanski this, it's not just one person. Of course you can see that, that was a bad play call, but a receiver was open, or you can pick so many pieces and, just critique it. But, you're just doing yourself a disservice if you think that, one play is, dictates an entire team and who to point the finger at. Because, really, like I said, we've been talking about, everyone's kind of playing bad on the offensive side.
Yeah. It just wasn't all there. That's it. Like I said, it's been the same theme all year. You beat yourselves. You don't take advantage of the opportunities you have, and there has not been one game that there's been complimentary football. And it's one game the offense has a good game. There's a game that the defense just does not show. And I think this time around, the defense played Baltimore probably the best they've had in years. And
Lamar wasn't running all over us.
Yeah, so. they kept Lamar contained. He didn't do much running. I mean, that's the goal. They made him throw the ball, and that turned into 4 picks. But you had a couple penalties that were just based off discipline. You had, I think it was one of the worst penalties we've ever had. We had 12 men on the field on a 4th and 2 on their side of the field. We called timeout, and we still sent 12 men on the field and got a penalty.
Right again.
How many? I mean, you get the ball on their side of the field if you get this right. Or at least force them to punt it. And then you have a late hit on Lamar Jackson on the sideline by Malik McDowell. It would have been a 3rd and 6 at like the 20-yard line. And he just kept the drive alive for them. And I think that turned into 3 points. Now, the other penalty that was just, I can't even say it was, you couldn't put it on Clowney because, he knows the risk, but it was a very ticky-tacky call, that roughing the passer on the sideline. There was no helmet-to-helmet contact. I don't know. I don't know what these refs are saying, Mike Tirico even said that's a horrible call. But, it's the NFL. It's been like that all year. And
it's been a bad year for play calling. Right. It really has. I saw a few last night in the Cowboys Saints game. And I'm like,
yeah, it's bad, but like I said, you can't put the game in the hands of the refs.
Yeah, just don't do things that it could be a gray area.
All right, and I think the biggest red flag on all of this is just blowing the coverages that they did, But, at the same time, you want to look at it like it took miracle plays for them to score a touchdown on us, which is, a very good thing going forward, that they really had to grind out this game. Yeah. They only scored
the one to Mark Andrews.
Yeah, where it was a heave. Lamar had to do Lamar.
Yeah.
And scramble around just to keep the play alive, and just throw an underthrown ball and just hope someone was there.
Yeah, and you had one of the best tight ends in the NFL there.
Right. And I mean, that's not an excuse, but it's like it took one of those plays to beat you. And it's frustrating, but it's a good thing. You kept Baltimore in check, but are you going to be able to do that going into the next Baltimore game? That's a question mark. Is the same game plan going to work? We don't know.
My hope is just that they get rested. I mean, we saw how it was last year coming off the bye week. I think that's when we really turned it into gear. Now, this is much later bye week, and we have a lot less games than we did last year.
Yeah.
So that's the issue with bye weeks and relying on the bye week, because, you can turn it up and do pretty good, but, I mean, if you won every single game, you're going to go 11-6, which will put you at a wild card or in the hunt spot, depending on how everything shakes out. So we'll just see what happens. I mean, I don't see us really. I mean, we need to win a bunch of against really really good teams, such as the Green Bay Packers. We're notoriously bad against the Raiders, and we still got the Steelers. And we got the Bengals again. So, I mean, we have a kind of a tough schedule coming up.
Yeah, we got the toughest schedule in the league. But we're also, we might find some help here with our rivals having tough schedules as well. And, you never know. It came down to this last year as well. And people forget that it took a last-minute, win for the Browns to get in, and weird things happen at the end of the year, and we could be talking 3 weeks from now saying, hey, we're in, or we could look at it next week and say, oh man, well, this is over. It's a toss up, and this is where you just got to go out there and do what you can do and not worry about what else is going on. If you can go out and win 5 straight, you guarantee yourself a shot in the playoffs. Even if you will at least win 3 out of the 5, you definitely have an opportunity. And that is very much doable.
Well, it is totally doable. I agree. And the funny thing is, I mean, I'm not going to say this is going to happen, but you've seen crazy things where, I mean, just take the Giants that were barely above 500. The year they won it, 2008 or 2009, and they won the Super Bowl, and they were barely above 500. Yeah. They were a wild card team. The Steelers have done it. I mean, I just can't say.
I mean, just look how bunched up the AFC is right now.
Yeah. You never know who's going to win, seriously. I mean, people lose that. I'm like, wow, how the hell did you lose that game?
Yeah.
And then vice versa, where it's just like, like, you should have won that game and you won it. So it's so unpredictable this year.
Yeah, this year's been off the hinge, and it's a question mark going to every game. It's the upset special. There's at least one every week, and hopefully the Browns are on the right side of it for a couple of these games. And luckily you have Baltimore at home for this last stretch. You have the Raiders at home, and then you go and you got the Bengals at home. Those are 3 tough teams that you need to beat, and I truly believe that you can go out and beat them. And then you definitely owe Pittsburgh one, and on Monday Night Football, and having Kareem Hunt back and Nick Chubb back ready for those games, I think it will make a big difference, because the last couple of weeks Pittsburgh has definitely struggled with the run, and it's been like that all year for them. But for the game that we had against them, we ran away from the run game, and this is the time to refocus this offense and say, hey, this is what works. Let's stick to it. And I think that's the big part when it comes to analytical football, that this is their time to sit back, let the players rest, the front office and the coaches get a chance to reevaluate what's going on in this offense, do their math, try to figure out what the hell they need to figure out, and smoothing out this offense a little more.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just going to have a lot of, personnel adjustments in a good way, where they're just kind of, I guess you would have to go by player or group by group and just really work on what they do best and, put them first on, how they operate. I still think we need to get more receiver play. Now, what happened with Rashard Higgins this last game, I am not entirely sure.
Question mark of the game.
Biggest question, because, I mean, I'm telling you, in the receiving room we have right now, it's not looking good.
It seemed like the biggest problem was getting open on Sunday night. And Jarvis Landry was the only one to be found.
Well, and Peoples-Jones deep down the field, which was then dropped. But Rashard Higgins would add such a dynamic. I mean, where is he? He has this whole entire season, 185 yards. That's it. He was a healthy scratch, meaning he's healthy, but the coach decided not to play him. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's going on.
It seems like it happens every year.
Yeah, but it's like week 13, going 14. I mean, you can't do that when you have, 4 games left. Or 5 games left.
This is definitely a head scratcher, and going forward, it's you need your receivers. You had trouble getting open and running routes and whatnot. It just wasn't there Sunday night,
but it hasn't been there all year. It's barely been there.
It has not been there all year, and there's no extra spark to this. There's no consistency to this offense. I was just talking to someone today that, they asked me, "Oh, you got to admit Baker really sucks." I'm like, I'm not gonna say he sucks, but he can.
Yeah, I mean,
but he can also
fair.
be really good. But we've seen more sucky Baker than good Baker this year.
Yeah.
And
when people always wanted to say, always like Brett Favre, people don't understand how Brett Favre was the same exact way. Yeah. I mean, we grew up watching Brett, and you saw Brett throw crazy touchdown passes and spark up, but you've also seen the other side of Brett Favre.
Spark up?
Spark up. You've seen him. Maybe we go there. But you've also seen him be awful. Awful, awful, awful. So, if you want to make that comparison, you're getting it. Every time. I know you do. But I don't know. I think, Baker, hopefully he just gets some more resting time. I mean, being hurt is being hurt. Receivers not playing well. Receivers not playing well. And there's, like I said, there's not just one person you can point at to say that's the reason. But I think, honestly, going forward with this Browns team, there's a lot to look at during the season right now. But I think after the season, I don't know where we're going to go from here because
this is I'll say a very exhausting and frustrating year. Because they're
But what do you do in the offseason now?
You're
paying a lot of people that aren't really performing.
Right. It's gonna be cutthroat if it doesn't go well this offseason. I mean, just to throw out a couple names, it's really gonna come to, are we gonna pay Austin Hooper all that money? Do we keep Jarvis Landry?
That's one that I've seen a lot, and I've been thinking a lot of. I mean, $15 million this upcoming year.
J.C. Tretter, that's a name to be thrown out there. You're going to look at this and, who's producing more on your offense? I don't think they'll wave the wand at the running back room at all.
I don't think so.
It's more on the receiving end. Austin Hooper has been a very big disappointment with especially the money he's being paid. And your second and third tight end are playing a lot better. They get open a lot more.
But Njoku, he needs a contract. He's up after this year, correct?
Yeah, but, Njoku is a bigger threat, and I see them paying him.
That's what I'm saying.
Over Austin Hooper.
You would have to. I mean, how much is Hooper getting paid? He's one of the highest paid tight ends in the entire league.
Right.
Look what he's doing.
There's a difference of being not very athletic. If he's not as athletic as Njoku, but they were banking on him being a sure hand catch, a great blocker, and in reality, he hasn't been either of those.
So who I always think of Austin Hooper as? Just on the same level, not of play, but who he reminds me of, but what he could have been was a Jason Witten. Bigger guy, not super fast, not the most athletic guy in the world, but can catch the ball and will always get open because he's a great route runner and great blocker.
It's been the exact opposite.
But in Atlanta, it's exactly what he was kind of going for. And that's what I always looked at him as. It was you know what I mean? Right. Does that make much sense?
Yeah, it is. And it's. I don't even think it has anything to do with scheme, or he's not getting as many looks, because Baker has been feeding him the ball like crazy, and this ball at times just hits him in the hand and nothing.
Yeah. Or he just stops right there. He does. I mean, he has to have 0 yards after the catch.
Yeah.
I was just making a joke where I feel like he was he'd be in an open field and someone's about to tackle him. He'd slide like a quarterback if he could. you could totally see that.
I saw a meme or a GIF, whatever, of someone rolling down a hill, and this is Austin Hooper be like after he gets one catch. He just rolls down.
Dude,
it's bad. There's a lot of money being spent. And really, it's going to come down who's worth the money.
Yeah.
Are you going to spend the money on Denzel Ward?
I say you have to.
I mean, he's been great this year, but injury problem. He's had issues with injury. He has not played a full season yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially when you have someone like Grady Williams that is coming off. He's got 1 year left.
Yeah, Grady's got another year or two. You got Greg Newsome, who's a rookie, and he's outstanding.
He's had a great year.
You know, it's going to be a lot of big questions. You're not going. I don't.
A lot of 1 year contracts too.
Yeah,
on the defensive side, a lot of 1 year contracts.
I feel like you might bring back Clowney. I think that's.
I'd hope so.
That's the only one I really think you could go or resign. You have Troy Hill for another year.
McDowell, I feel like you'd need to.
Yeah, he's gonna stay. But you know what? For Malik McDowell, I would not want to keep him as a starter. He's definitely a rotational piece that would be like him. The D tackles we got right now are rotational guys that are not starters. And it definitely shows.
How about Tack? What do you think about Tack?
Tack is we have him for another year.
That was a 1 year contract.
He's got 2.
Ah, okay. I thought it was just one. How about Malik Jackson?
Malik Jackson.
He's on a 1 year.
Yeah. So, I really.
Andrew Billings, is he gonna come back? We're gonna sign up for a multi-year deal. I know.
Way gone.
Dude, he was so bad. So bad.
What? Talk about a disappointment.
Oh my god, dude.
Jesus. You know, it's. And I think Ronnie Harrison. Ronnie Harrison's one that his contract's coming up, and you know this year he's been
great at points, but like awful at others. I mean, a lot of missed coverages.
He hasn't been great this year.
I think it depends on how well Richard LeCounte comes into play and how well he performs.
That is a very good point.
But he's been hurt almost his whole year, so that's another big issue.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have John Johnson, LeCounte, and you have Delpit. So you got 3 really good guys. I feel like one really good guy, Delpit, I think could definitely do something. You see a spark in him. LeCounte, we just haven't seen enough of him. We saw him in preseason; he looked good, but it's like that's preseason, So
yeah, they're gonna have to cut ties. I think Mack Wilson's definitely on that list.
Yeah. Anthony Walker. That's another one.
Anthony Walker, goodbye, please,
dude. That's another one that's been extremely disappointing for me because I had so much hope for him at the beginning of this year, and he's just, I don't know.
He hasn't even been solid. I mean, he leads the team in tackles, but I mean, how many missed tackles has he had?
That's what I was gonna say. Is missed tackles are just crazy. I mean,
he's
how many times does he have someone behind the line of scrimmage, and it's just an arm tackle at his ankles or something?
And I mean, if he's the quarterback of the defense and he makes these great reads, it's definitely not showing. It's not showing at all this year.
No.
I think a lot of it they need to put another pick into the linebacker core, build up that defensive front. If you're not able to bring back Clowney, I'd definitely spend a first rounder on the edge rusher.
Well, that was my question actually. Next was like, what do you think our first? Because right now, I just saw a thing is we would be picking 16th if the draft happened right now. So you think middle of the draft class? Where do you go?
Well, see, I've seen a couple guys already. I think the way this team's looking, I think you could go receiver here. I've seen a lot of projection of Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, which I'd absolutely love.
I just saw that.
I think he's a young guy that is very similar to Jarvis Landry's, that really has the speed to really take the top off, and he could really help your team. Chris Olave. You could also go on the defensive side of the ball and go. I think his name is Lamar Vanilla, defensive tackle out of Texas A&M. He can play out on the edge or bump inside, and he's a great pass rusher. He was a big threat in that Alabama game, and really changed the pace of the game, a good run stuffer. And it really just starts on the edge and the inside on the defense side of the ball and the linebacker core. And on the offensive side of the ball, I think you go either receiver or you look for your next right tackler or center, something like that. And if they're really feeling ballsy, this is a real, this is going to change the pace of your franchise if you go quarterback in the first round. Because if you go quarterback, there's been rumors of it, and I know I don't want to go down that alley, but
CBS mock draft had us moving up to get the University of Pittsburgh quarterback.
Kyle Pickett.
Yep.
Don't want to go down the alley of a new quarterback, but there are questions. If Baker goes out and stinks it up for the rest, question marks. Do you want to bring him back? He has another year, and then you can franchise him for 2 more years after that. The problem with franchising him for 2 more years is you pay him market price. Market price is basically what he's asking. So if you're going to pay 35 plus for Baker Mayfield for what he's been putting out there,
because what if he's average again next year? What do you do? What do you do?
Honestly, it's how much you think you can get away with how he plays. If he could be consistent like he was last year, that is worth it to me. If he is inconsistent like this year or 19, it's going to be very hard to say, hey, we're going to pay you or even give you the tag, because with names like Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson,
But even so, my thing is if he's bad next year or completely average next year,
Deshaun Watson, another one.
Well, not even just that though. Don't you think you could bring someone in? Because my idea is what I think they should do is they should bring in a Marcus Mariota or Trubisky, because I feel like those guys, even if Baker doesn't work out long term, I think you can have them for a pretty cheap price. Before you can move up in the draft, kind of like what the 49ers did. But I also think you can have some dude that can fill in, kind of like a Taylor Heineke. Tell me Taylor Heineke would not perform, if not as better than...
See, at that point, it's like...
But if you're in the 5th year and he's just, what do you do?
Well, if you're talking about next year, I'd rather just stick with Baker, because...
but that's his 5th year option. You need to pay him after.
Next year's not a 5th year option. It is his 5th year.
That's what I'm saying.
So he's got 1 more year no matter what.
Yes, it's $18 million. Paying him next year.
So you have the 5th year. So no matter what you do, you have him for another year. But if you decide to draft a quarterback or trade for Russell Wilson or sign Aaron Rodgers, whatever it be, you're making a statement saying, we're done with Baker. We're not even going to go back to him. You make any of those moves, Baker is not going to be with the team next year. That's a statement move. There's no going back from it. No.
Yeah, for sure.
You do that.
You draft a quarterback the same way.
You draft a quarterback in the 1st round. You can draft a quarterback in the 6th round. It won't mean much. You draft a quarterback in the 1st or 2nd round. 2nd round, it might be a little different. 1st round, that is a statement. You're saying we're moving on from Baker.
But even
if they don't do, that's what I'm saying. If they draft a quarterback in the 1st or 2nd round, you go get Rodgers or Russell Wilson if you can bring them here for a good price,
which.
It's gonna be hard. It's that is a statement, and I just don't think Browns fans that are anti-Baker are understanding what they want here, because people are saying that they don't want Baker here no more. Get him out of here. You're telling me that you want bums bums.
Like what we dealt with for 15 years.
Yes, you want bums to come here and place hold the quarterback position of a playoff team. I get it, Baker is playing like shit, but he's also proved that he can be that quarterback.
He could be that guy. He definitely
can. He can be.
So, but, you know, if you do put in a placeholder, you are losing your roster. Over time, your roster is going to go.
It's
we're going to be back in the same spot we were 5 years ago.
It's driving me nuts that's even a conversation. Like, the problem with this fanhood, this fan community, is we do not know how to win. We don't know how to act right when it comes to teams. We need to understand it takes time to get where we're going. This is a part of the journey. I get it. 4th, 5th year. I know it's it's frustrating.
And it's nice to see a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Kyler Murray that comes out just pops off. I get it. It's an incredible thing to see, and I wish it's happening with us. It's just not. But it could happen down the line, and he could be at that level as soon as we know it. I mean, last year we've said 50%. I know, but 2 of the 4 years he's been with us, he's been really good, but he's been really bad, and I think that's where I see the argument for a lot of people. I get it, but I think obviously we need to deal with him this year, upcoming year. We need to see how he comes out of this bye week. He's going to get the surgery in the offseason. He's going to come play for us next year because he's going to be our starting quarterback next year. That's a fact.
Pending any moves of...
Okay, but here's the thing. Russell Wilson is a celebrity. He doesn't want to come to Cleveland. He'd be...
Well, Russell Wilson is someone that wants to play for a championship team. You would have to trade an arm and a leg to go get him.
Yeah. But it's also...
It's what are you going to pay to get someone like him or a Deshaun Watson? I don't think...
Deshaun Watson's going to be pricey, man.
They're both going to be pricey.
Deshaun wants like 3 or... I think they want like 3 first-round
picks.
But
the thing is, Russell Wilson can stay in Seattle all he wants. But Deshaun Watson is leaving Houston. Like, there's no coming back.
What's a better chance? Russell, Aaron Rodgers, or Deshaun coming to Cleveland? Who do you say has the best opportunity or best chance of coming here?
Well, and
I don't think Aaron wants to come to a rebuilding team. Not a rebuilding team, but a team that, like, okay, I'm going to backtrack right here because this is exactly what Tom Brady did. Tampa Bay was, 7-9?
Yeah.
Which is like the perfect come in and take this team to the Super Bowl, where you have a ton of talent, but the quarterback's the issue. That's kind of what we are. Outside of Jameis Winston and Baker Mayfield are a totally different story.
Yeah.
So I do see the appeal of Aaron Rodgers coming here.
Well, how do you not have the appeal for any of those 3 guys? You do. It's really... If you have an opportunity to get them at a reasonable price, you obviously make the move because they make your team light years better. And that's not me dogging Baker. Even Baker at his best is not better than Russell Wilson.
Or Deshaun Watson.
Or Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers.
All 3 of those are generational talents. They just
are. You go out and get any of those 3 guys. This is a team that's going to... They're already joining a team that's better than the one that they have already. You give Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, or Deshaun Watson this offense, they're going to run away with it.
Man.
I think Jeff Phelps always puts a good point to it, is you build the base to your house by signing these offensive linemen, and you're assuring that you have a set base. And veteran quarterbacks love that. They want a nice offensive line that they can sit behind. You have 2 running backs.
Look at Brady. Oh, my God. He has days to throw the ball. It's absurd.
You have 2 running backs that are going to save you a bunch of time. You're
not going to use your arm as much.
Right. This is an offense with just going off the offensive line, the running backs, and the few weapons they have on the outside. I'd say maybe 2 or 3. That they're going to look at and go, hey, like, I can do something with this.
The pieces are here.
Yeah, it's still a young defense that, you get 3 or 4 of the right guys, that defense can be elite.
Oh, my God.
It's I'd say it's about top 15.
But with an all-star, I mean, you get a Deshaun Watson in that offense. That offense is a top 5. That defense is a top 15. I think top 10 if they're playing well. Top 15, I think, if they're kind of having a week.
But all in all, being realistic, I don't think it's really going to come to that.
I don't think so either.
We can sit here and have what if conversations all we want. Until that a deal is made like that, Baker Mayfield is our quarterback.
Yeah, and I also don't think Andrew Berry is the kind of guy to do that. I mean, you saw it with the trade deadline. I just don't think he's that guy that make that massive trade that would totally just flip your whole franchise on its head. I don't think he's that kind of guy. I don't think Kevin is either.
I don't know. It's tough because.
But if it's there, that's such the big issue.
If it's a deal that makes sense.
Yeah. If Deshaun Watson was like, hey, I want to come play for Cleveland.
Because these guys they're going to guarantee you wins. That is a given. Any of those guys adds a different threat to your offense that they can make that throw. They can keep the play alive. Yeah. They can make a play with their legs.
And a scrambling quarterback like Deshaun or Russell, I mean, and even Aaron Rodgers outran Jalen Ramsey this past week, which is pretty awesome to see. That was incredible. But all 3 of those guys, I mean, they can make magic happen. And, as much as I do like Baker Mayfield, as much as I like to think in 5 or 10 years that we'd be in the Super Bowl, I don't know what it is. I just don't see him being the key factor of winning it. And I think about, like, the 2000, what year was that? 6 Bears?
With Rex
Grossman. Now, don't say I'm saying Baker Mayfield's Rex Grossman. But they won it because of their defense. Hear me out. They had studs.
He ain't going to win a Super Bowl with his defense.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, though, is that it's not happening.
It's
But I'm not saying it's Rex Grossman, but I'm saying I feel like if we put everything together, we wouldn't be able to get to a Super Bowl with Baker, and I don't think we'd win a Super Bowl because of him. Does that make sense?
I can't say that. He just needs to get back to a consistent level, and then we can have that talk. Right now, I don't think Super Bowl's in the conversation.
That's my point, though.
Playoffs are barely in the conversation right now.
That's my point.
It's just all about consistency with them, and that's it. And outside those 3 guys, you really don't have any better options unless you want to go spend a first-round pick on a quarterback and wait till he develops again.
Because you're not going to get a stud quarterback. You're not going. I mean, the University of Pittsburgh quarterback. What's his name?
Pickett. Kyle Pickett. This is not a great draft class for quarterbacks.
But Pickett is not going to be that plug-and-play guy. I don't see it. And even if he was, I think you just completely... You'd restart. You are going to be where you were in 2018, minus a bunch of draft capital to move up to get to that spot to be able to pick him.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. Because you're not going to get him in the second round. You're not going to get him at 15. You might get him like 15 if like a Mac Jones situation went on, but they don't have that deep of a quarterback crew, which I can also see them going and set a lot of receivers early, a lot of linemen this year. If he falls to you, what do you do?
I think we should save that for the NFL draft,
which we will be covering.
That's too big.
We'll cover again.
We still have 5 games, sir, and there's still a lot of football to be played. We still have a whole entire off season to think about that. I'm not even thinking about that right now. I'm thinking about this team right now and what we have and the small pieces that could make it better. Like a Garrett Wilson right now, I'm thinking about the team we have. You add another receiver who's This man's a sure hand catch.
And runs his routes.
And he plays good ass football. He's a playmaker, and that's what you need. Jameer, I think it's Jahan Dotson from Penn State. Playmaker. You get that man the ball, he can go make a play happen for you. Chris Olave, perfect route runner, sure hand catch. Get him out there, he can make plays for you. That's what I'm thinking about right now. But, at the same time, a lot of what ifs. They could turn around and make that first round pick and send it over to Seattle, for all I fucking know. But
true. We
have 5 games left in this NFL Browns season. And you got Baltimore next week. We got a bye week, so we can lose somehow. I'm sure there's some way we can. Not the team itself, but other games going around that, you got Baltimore, Pittsburgh this week, and then you have Cincinnati and the Chargers this week, and those are 2 games that could really shake up this playoff picture for the Browns.
And Cincinnati's schedule coming up is kind of rough.
It's a lot easier than everybody else, but they do host the Chiefs.
So they have the Chargers, 49ers, Broncos, Ravens, Chiefs, us. Where in that schedule is easy?
Well, look at the other 2 teams. I guarantee you're not going to think that's easy. That's harder than the both of them. Because the other
I know Steelers kind of have an easy go here.
Oh no, they don't. They got the second hardest schedule.
Really?
Yeah.
So Vikings, Titans, Chiefs, Browns, Ravens. Okay, yeah. Vikings have been playing.
The Vikings are playing really good.
And they just lost. They just lost like 2 in a row, didn't they?
No.
Are you sure? I thought the Vikings lost like 2 in a row.
They beat Green Bay, remember? Last Sunday. Remember when we went to the game?
The Titans?
The Vikings won.
Oh,
when they beat Green Bay.
Okay, I was gonna say I thought the Titans lost the last 2 weeks.
The Titans just got their asses kicked by the Patriots.
Yeah, and they lost to the Texans the week prior.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, but Vikings have been playing really well.
Yes.
So okay, yeah. So I mean, they're 5-5. So realistically, say they're 5-6, 5-7. Chiefs 5-8. 5-9 against us. I mean, they can totally drop the ball on every single one of these next few games.
But that is to be determined. We have a lot of football left, my friend. And on that note, I think it's time to say...
Wait. Real quick. Ravens have us, Green Bay, Bengals, Rams, Steelers. So that's tough, too. So 6-6 doesn't look too bad, guys.
Can I do it now?
Do it.
And on that note, goodbye. Need a towel? All right. Howdy doody. Goodbye. No cocktails this week. No Royal Donuts keys to the game because we took a bye week. Our team's got a bye week. Our green screen's got a bye week.
Yeah, it's on vacation actually.
Yeah,
it's in Cabo.
Yeah, it sent us a Snapchat today, and it's having a good old time. Met a blue screen. It's good.
Having some fun.
Good.
A lot of drinks.
But finally, it's a week we don't really got to stress out about, and that is much deserved. But let that be it. Enjoy your week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Go Browns. That's it.